It's official. Hollow Knight Silksong has finally been released. I know absolutely nothing about Hollow Knight. Genuinely, my knowledge when it comes to Hollow Knight is absolutely zero. The only thing I know is Hornet and what she looks like, and that's about it. So I thought it might be fun to challenge myself here and see if I can design the characters based purely on descriptions when I know absolutely nothing about the series. So I asked two of my friends who have played Hollow Knight and Silksong before to give me a description on one NPC from each game. And my goal was to try design those NPCs based purely on those descriptions when I know absolutely nothing about the game or what these NPCs even look like at all, and see how close I get to the actual designs in the games. I'm going into this completely blind, so let's see how well I do, or how much I butcher them. Either way, this is going to be great fun. Let's get going. This first description came from my friend Moon, and it's for a Hollow Knight character. Here's what she wrote. Always found sitting on the ground in secluded little corners, surrounded by scrolls, books and loose sheets of paper, is this round spectacled bug. His small, thin but stubby legs poke out from beneath a large piece of paper folded down the middle, held in his right hand while he scribbles on it with a bug's wing quill in his left. He has a weevil's nose that trails down like a trunk, mirrored by his antennae that flow in very loose ways off his head, almost reaching the ground on either side of him. A pair of round right glasses are practically his only other facial feature, a stark contrast to the usually black void-like eyes of the denizens of the Hollow Nest. A red belt is slung from his left shoulder to his right hip, supporting a sack of scrolls on his back. He has no visible thorax markings, simply a round dark greyish blue front, and a similarly desaturated but lighter shell across his back. These two colours are practically the only ones he has, ashy grey and red slate. Initially, I interpreted this description as the piece of large paper sort of went over his body like a shell or a tent, but then I realised he's actually meant to be holding it. That completely changed my idea for what I was going to do for this character. So in the end, I went for this very, very round bug. His head, I made a similar mask as Hornet. Because where Hornet is the only thing I've really seen of Hollow Knight or Silksong, my interpretation of these characters is that they all have this sort of white mask head thing. I might be wrong there, I'm not entirely sure, but again, I've gone into this completely blind, and that's the fun of it. So basically I took that mask and I added the weevil's nose in, which by the way, weevils are really adorable little bugs. You should Google them because they are actually very cute little things. I added in the weevil's nose, which trailed down like a trunk, and I matched the antennae to fit that. So while I kept the antennae nice and loose like the description said, I also kept them a bit thicker like the nose. Of course, he had his little glasses. I initially made the legs a bit bigger than they were meant to be, so I changed it to be a bit stubbier, as the description said. I gave him the strap and the scrolls on his back. I gave him the bug's wind quill that he's using to write on the paper, and I interpreted the shell as being sort of like a ladybird shell. That's just sort of in my head what I imagined, so I gave him that sort of shiny, glossy shell that a ladybird would have. Also, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, I've been having major art block lately, so I'm not going for full detailed art here. I'm just going for something a bit simpler that can just work for conveying my design idea, and not much more than that. It doesn't need to be really hyper detailed. I just want to make sure the idea of my design comes across well, and that's it. When it came to colouring, I wanted to keep everything nice and desaturated, because in my head, Hollow Knight and Silksong have this kind of moody atmosphere to them. Again, I might be completely wrong there, but that's just how, I've interpreted it based on what I've seen, like the very minimal stuff I've seen of the games. So I kept all the colours nice and dark and desaturated, just to fit that moody theme. The only bright part of this design is the mask, which I kept the sort of greyish white. But I also did want to add a splash of colour so that this NPC would stand out from the environment. So obviously the description had a red strap, so I did that. And I also put that red on the ties of the scrolls, because like I said, that just helps the character to stand out from the environment that he sat in. From there, the design was pretty much done. It was just finishing off the arts with a bit of shading. Now it's time to see how close I got. Did I do well or did I absolutely butcher this design? Let's have a look. Oh wow, so I actually didn't do too bad then. The piece of paper was smaller than I thought it would be, and I just assumed he'd had the black limbs. And also did the antennae the wrong colour. I thought they'd be part of the head, they'd just sort of come off the head as, you know, one thing. But honestly, in terms of the fundamentals of the design, I pretty much got that spot on. I'm quite happy with that. Now moving on to the Silksong character. This is what the description reads. About 2 times the height of Hornet, a small round mask with 2 tiny horns and small oval eyes, resembling a cat's face in shape. Mask is the same colour as Hornet's. Body resembles a sheep's wool body, roughly 4 times the size of its head. A dark mossy green colour, the head is found near the centre of the body but slightly further up. Has the same black limbs as most of the other NPCs. Limbs are proportionate to its body. Character is seen sitting next to a cauldron, stirring it with a wooden staff. A very kind and helpful NPC. If it were to stand, it'd be on 2 legs. So the immediate image that conjured up in my mind of this character is a small head, a very, very big round body. And initially I was going to have the cauldron be quite big and the character be sort of sat on a stool stirring a cauldron. But then I remembered the description said that this character is about 2 times the height of Hornet. So I thought the character's going to be big enough to be able to sit and stir the cauldron without any sort of seat. And so I made the cauldron a little bit smaller just to fit that. From there it was figuring out what everything was sort of going to look like. The eyes, I made that sort of almond shape of cat eyes. And the mask itself, I gave it that sort of muzzled look of cat. So I did 2 sort of round parts to mimic the muzzle of a cat. And of course the 2 tiny horns, which to me kind of look like cat ears as well. The woody sheep's body was quite simple, it was just a woody body. The limbs thankfully could be fairly big because they're proportionate to the body, so I had plenty of room to work with there with them to get them to fit in terms of the sitting position and the stirring of the staff that I've got here. And as for the staff, I basically made it look like a bit of a stick that's sort of curled at the top, carved out at the top in this curl, and it has a few leaves still sticking out of it. To give it this sort of natural feel that this whole NPC has given me a very natural vibe. Almost a healer vibe as well. I have a feeling this NPC is actually a healer, but I might be completely wrong. In terms of the colours, quite simple actually. The only thing I really had to decide on was the colour of the cauldron, you know, the liquid that would be in the cauldron. And I just went with a classic green because, you know, potions and mimicking the sort of nature vibe. You know, green is associated with nature. All in all, this NPC was actually a lot easier to come up with an idea for compared to the Hollow Knights one that we did previously. This one I was able to conjure up an image in my head of quite easily, whereas the other one I had to think about a little bit harder. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this design ended up turning out. It's a very fluffy little NPC. I really, really want to just hug it. Like, it feels like it'd be really soft and fluffy. But yeah, once I've done all the colour and everything, it was just a little bit of shading to finish it off. Now it's time to see how close I actually got. Did I do well? Did I make it look like the actual character? Oh my god, guys, that's actually really close. Oh my god, I got really close on that one. I pretty much got the actual character itself spot on. Like, the mossy body, the black limbs, you know, the cat-shaped mask. I may have put a little bit more detail into the cat-shaped mask, but like, it's pretty much there. I got that really spot on, oh my god. Obviously the staff looks different and the cauldron is a bit different, but I'm happy with that. I got that really, really close based on the description alone. Wow. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this fun little challenge video. There's something so fun about being given the description of a character that you have no idea about, and trying to figure out that design based on the description, and seeing how close you get to the actual canon design. It's so fun. So if you'd like to see more of me blindly designing characters based only on description alone, then give the video a like to let me know, and tell me in the comments down below what franchises or series or other media you'd like to see me try this with. Obviously don't give me the character names because that'll spoil it, but just, you know, give me a piece of media or a franchise or a series that you'd like to see me try blindly design characters for based purely on their description alone. And let me know how well you think I did with these two characters, based on the fact that I know absolutely nothing about Hollow Knight or Silksong. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, maybe leave a like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to get videos early or see extra content such as behind the scenes and works in progresses, then make sure to become a channel member. Your support would be highly appreciated. Thank you so much. And I hope to see all of you wonderful people in the next video. Bye!